Hi, Farah. Farah, you need to unmute.
Give me 1 second.
Somebody's phone ringing.
Okay, is it okay?
Yes,
Okay, cool. Thanks, Eddie. Thank you so much.
you're welcome.
So this is being resilient.
Yeah, true. Yeah, sure.
This is being agile.
Yes.
Thank you, Farah, for rushing over.
Don't worry.
Okay, now the floor is yours.
Hello. Okay. As we move on to 2021, 2020 has been a very eventful year full of news. With the US elections, Malaysia's political changes, the emergence of global Black Lives Matter movement, and most of all, the phenomenal pandemic. The worldwide outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic brought about unexpected stress and adversity amongst many, many, many people. It has become a global concern on how to deal with the social and psychological challenges in the midst of the perpetuality of the pandemic. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Compassion and Wellness Webinar 2021. My name is Alilan Chandra, and I shall be responsible in hosting our discussion for today. If you would like more information about these presentations, you can access our Facebook page, which says Compassion and Wellness Webinar. Just to remind you that if you would have registered for this webinar and attend it accordingly, you will be honored with an e-certificate as a token of appreciation. To all of you who have just tuned in, we welcome you to this exclusive engagement webinar. You may post your questions as you go along, and we'll do our best to answer at least most of them to the time given. Thank you. Okay, this Global Pandemic Resilience webinar is organized by the students of Master of Language and Communication and Digital Culture from Language Academy, belonging to the Faculty of Social Sciences and Humanities of Universiti Teknologi Malaysia. This is part of the popular culture and the internet subject intervention engagement under the tutelage of Mr. G. Ghazali Binari, Tok Rimau, the advisor and the senior lecturer of this subject matter. I'm honored to be part of this fraternity myself. Special mention goes out to the working team who have made this webinar possible, and their contribution is much appreciated. Now, in this webinar, we will explore possible solutions in dealing with the vulnerability of the current situation by way of discussion with our invited guests and exchange ideas on, number one, sustainable community development. Number two, how to deal with loneliness and isolation amidst the pandemic. It is a great pleasure to invite our speakers, as you can see, Mr. Edey Suresh and Ms. Farrah Baptiste again. They will be in this session with us to explore the topic of connection with sustainable community development. Now, about our speakers, now let me introduce you who Edey Suresh is. Edey Suresh is the founder of Social Hero Foundation, as well as the director of UN Global Compact Malaysia and Brunei. Mr. Edey is also, he plays his role as a respected journalist, editor, social entrepreneur, planner, trainer, and strategist. He is the director of the Truso Media PLT, which under a public-private partnership synergizes with Iskandar Regional Development Authority, which publishes the region's only local newspaper called the Iskandarian. Edey Suresh is also the founding president of Johor Bahru Collective Media, or JOFAM. Now, the second speaker here is Farrah. Farrah is, okay, 1 second. Okay. Farrah of Ihsan Johor from 2018 until now. She's responsible to manage all operations of volunteer projects, including humanitarian mission and volunteer management. In fact, she just rushed back from doing some voluntary work to catch up with this webinar right now. So kudos to you, Farrah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ihsan's main volunteer projects include building 16 units of Ihsan Johor House in 3 days within 6 months.
Yes.
The Lombok, Indonesia mission, Sungai Kim Kim mission flood disaster relief during Northeast Monsoon 2019, and finally, the facilitation of COVID-19 vision, which I read about, I think, probably last year, right? Okay. Since she cleared the role of CEO, Farrah has been leading her team to accomplish numerous missions, such as managing 50 volunteers at each project encompassing different backgrounds and education level. Additionally, she has managed to channel and educate beneficiaries to the right agency for 8 applications, ensuring that the applicants will obtain the required assistance which is needed.
Yes.
Okay, now over to the panels. I would like to introduce to you Mr. Edey Suresh. Now, Mr. Edey Suresh would enunciate a little bit about his bid on the perpetuity of compassion and wellness, which is he has led. Thank you so much. Over to you, Mr. Edey.
Thank you, Dr. L.
Thank you.
Perhaps I will start off by giving a little bit of background on who are we and what we do. So the Social Hero Foundation is a non-profit organization based in Johor, established under the Prime Minister's Department, Trustees Incorporation Act 1952, to sustainably carry out charitable activities and promote national unity, racially integrated programs for the purpose of raising funds, as well as to ensure sustainability and continuity of our initiatives. So, although the Social Hero Foundation was established in 2019, the initiative actually began in 2014 with our Iskandar Malaysia Social Hero Awards, or also known as IMSHA. And the role of IMSHA is to spot, recognize, and empower CSOs, civil society organizations, non-governmental organizations, and non-governmental individuals or voluntary aid, humanitarian aids, as well as corporate entities who are making a difference in Iskandar Malaysia, irrespective of race, religion, creed, or gender, or anything else. So the awards were intended to raise awareness on the need for all to share the responsibility of working towards a more inclusive, compassionate, and resilient society, which works at providing relief to the members of public who are in need of it. So, the Social Hero Foundation, primarily our goal is to help create a resilient community that will help all segments of society in Malaysia, and we recognize social heroes via IMSHA program. And the program itself is not about just winning an award and going back home, but we believe that capacity development must also be given to NGOs to help them perform better. You see, if I may speak off the cuff a bit, NGOs are very good at helping others, but they are not the best at helping themselves. So we need to provide we need to provide a little bit of support on the back end, and to give them a little bit of global thinking as well, to align themselves with global knowledge, with sustainable development goals, the SDGs, and provide the platform for NGOs, government agencies, and private sector to work together. Because if we want to solve social challenges more effectively, there must be partnerships. So if we look back at SDG Goal 17, partnerships for goals, this is what we are looking at working on. We want everyone to be connected. So our vision is to transform the non-profit sector of Malaysia by equipping NGOs with skills, resources, and the know-how of achieving sustainability and causing greater impact. So we provide internationally recognized capacity development training for the NGOs. And moving forward, I think there is an undeniable fact that we must also have to digitize them. I'm not talking about digitalization, but I'm talking about digitizing them. So meaning most of them are not even on a digital platform. So we have to get them digitized first, and then get them to understand that, work must be done based on data, and database support to strengthen the presence and work of civil society is much needed. And evidences must be made based on decisions must be made based on evidence. So data collection is also very important, and it's a very important tool that can help NGOs perform better. So our programs and activities are not segmented to just B40 segments, but we are looking inclusively and not exclusively. So all youth sectors, all B40, all M40, all sectors of society should be someone that we should be working with. So the winners are provided tools and education to better their organization, and we want them to perform better, and this is what we are doing from behind the scenes. So 2019 was an interesting year for the Social Hero Foundation because we were recognized by the United Nations in Malaysia as a good practice SDG or Sustainable Development Goals award provider. And 2019 was also the year that we incorporated our foundation. And since getting a recognition from the United Nations, what we have done is we have sort of realigned our vision and values by incorporating the SDGs into everything that we do. So you got 17 sustainable goals to look at, 169 targets to work with. And by looking at this, by using the SDGs as a benchmark, we realize that the performance is enhanced, and global thinking is also given to the NGOs. So apart from aligning the vision to SDGs, capacity development and ESD or Education for Sustainable Development is very important. So we are setting up a center of resilience and excellence for NGOs. Previously, we've done training offhand, but I think we are also looking at creating something a bit more perpetual. So we might be looking at coming up with a center of excellence for NGOs as well. And of course, we will also look at developing our awards further. So when we move towards capacity development, what we can notice is that NGOs are now given global thinking. For an example, when we talk about environment, generally speaking, people will think environment means beach cleanup and cleaning up the river or pollution and things like that. But what we are trying to do with the capacity development is also to inculcate the thinking that environment should also encompass talking about climate issues
Yes.
and climate actions and the bigger picture, meaning the global ambitions of things. So we are looking to foster this sort of thinking a bit more with NGOs. So that's what IMSHA and Social Hero Foundation does. Perhaps I can just dabble a little bit more on another hat that I wear, which is the UN Global Compact. So the UN Global Compact Network Malaysia and Brunei is the local network for the United Nations Global Compact. And the UNGC is a call for companies to align strategies and operations with universal principles of human rights, labor, environment, anti-corruption, and take actions on advancing societal goals. So by committing to sustainability, businesses can take shared responsibility in achieving a better world. So why am I part of the NGO world as well as the corporate world is because these two worlds are interconnected. We have corporate companies that do corporate social responsibility, and we want them to work with the subject matter experts, which are the NGOs. So instead of the corporate company going out there and doing maybe less impactful corporate social responsibility work, they should be working with NGOs and CSOs who are experts at their field and making a better impact on society. So this is what I'm working towards. So happy to be invited by Dr. L to join this webinar. So in terms of wellness, anything and everything that we do is targeted for the wellness of the society. And we work hard in trying to achieve this resilient society of ours. So it's not just about Johor and it's not just about Malaysia, but we must also work towards having a resilient
Yes.
world.
Community.
Yes, exactly. Right. Our community and our world that we see every day must be better, and we must move forward with more strength. So yeah, that's it for me. I'm going to pass this back to Dr. L. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Eddie. I guess we will move on to Ms. Farrah Baptist to actually, I'm getting echo. I'm getting echo, right? Okay, so over to you, Ms. Farrah, to sort of enunciate what you do in the community and a little bit of your experiences. Thank you so much.
Okay. Hi. Thank you for having me in the same room, same building with Suresh, even though we are in the same state, same district, same area, but we are focusing on different community. Why? Because as Dr. L mentioned just now and Suresh mentioned just now, our long-term plan, our end game is to build up, to activate that community resilience, is to make our community global, not only us but to the community itself. Okay, just to share on what we experienced and what we have done last year or even last 2 years. So Malaysia is actually generally is very lucky. Why? Because we are covered with Borneo, Indonesia, and we are out. Hopefully, we are out of the major disaster like tsunami, earthquake, like that. So, if we can understand the logistic wise, geographically, so Malaysia is actually at between Malaysia, Japan, and Indonesia. But currently, looking at the situation whereby from the COVID pandemic, COVID-19 happened previously, what happened to Johor itself, specifically in Pasir Gudang, Sungai Kim Kim incident, the air pollution. So our community itself need to be resilient, same as Japan and Philippines. Why I'm saying like this? Because in Japan or in Philippines, they are so much resilient whereby if let's say in the morning there is a typhoon happen, by evening or by noon they already like normal living days. So meaning they are very, very resilient and they are move on. So putting back what happened to them is a typhoon, is an earthquake. So we need to be like that actually. So we have a legacy issue whereby this flooding. So we need to actually manage our own disaster. But at the moment we have with the COVID-19 the community, the state, the federal, or even the school or the family itself need to all participate and teamwork, because this pandemic issue, we actually don't know who is positive, who is negative. So the key point here is we need to take care ourselves. At the same time, we need to take care our family, our community. So that's why we agree. I agree personally on this topic on sustainable community. How we want to do that. So the challenge is now, as we are on the ground. So it's not that we give only one time or one time touch. We touch and go. No, we don't do that. We will try to educate our people. Not only we are giving fish, but we are trying. We will find ways. If we have the opportunity, we will give them rod. So let's say if we give them a new employment, let's say we give a single mother left with 5 kids. We have a recently cases in Lakin, jobless. She needs to find food on daily basis, diapers, milk for her baby. So at the moment we cannot on monthly basis giving only rice or any food bank. So we need that long-term plan for the family. So we are reaching out a very selective category beneficiaries or vulnerable. Let's say single mother, OKU, or maybe OKU, single mother, what we call that, warga emas, the elderly that there's nobody to take care of them. So for today's situation is flood, since 30th of December, we have this situation, so we need to actually evolve. So we put aside first all the single mothers aside. We make sure them have a full milk powder for the family, but we also need other communities because we need to actually focus on major or eagle eye helicopter view. So instead of one community. And one more thing, we also need to avoid this duplication because our Malaysian people is actually a very good hearted person. We are very pure heart. We are actually, if let's say we heard somebody asking for a help, even for a one apple or maybe one rice, one cup of rice, definitely all people will try to help, but we need to do a very good coordination. That's what we learn and what my people, and I already briefed my volunteer that we need to do smart thing, not a very blunt thing. So for a record, last year, our total beneficiaries touched 8,858 families in total. Start from the first week of March until December. We are not calculating January. So until December, we already have a beneficiaries of 8,000 families, Dr. L. So these 8,000 families, I need to make sure they are really ready for the next challenge in their life. So that is my personal objective, my personal KPI. If I can see they are success, that is already good enough for us.
Couple of things when you talk about reaching out to people and giving them the actual help which is needed and coordination. So Ihsan Johor is getting some help from other NGOs as well, or how does it work? Can you please enlighten us?
Okay, definitely. We cannot go on silo or only one-man show. We can't do that because this is a very pandemic issue. It's a very big thing. I think nobody in the world expect this thing. But maybe we would expect some, like 30 years ago, we have this plug thing. But looking at these 20 centuries, we need to evolve and we need to change faster. So if we are talking about coordination, we need to teamwork. We need to do joint venture with other people, other state, other communities, other leaders, other village leaders. If we need to do that, we need to do that. That will be a more impactful and more meaningful action. So if you are asking just now, is it important to do joint venture with other NGO or maybe other state or even with partner with our state or even federal, that would be very enough because let's say for today's situation, we have about 68 house to clean, but we volunteers total, we have about 20 of us. We just manage about 5 families, but we're already tired enough. We can't go help 68 families, 68 houses because it's very quite impossible to do all that. So if let's say we have this coordination being monitored or being coordinated, that will be very good enough for the people to have a better life, a better resilient life. So as I leave them just now with a big heart, I leave them. They still ask us, "Will you come back?" So will you come back with such a very sad face? Yes, we will come back. My people need to eat first, then we will come back to you. But we need to do smart. So because just now I realized there is one donor called me just now, Madam Sandy. Madam Sandy, okay, what can we help? So I asked her first, what do you want to help? Is it today or tomorrow? Because in crisis, time is gold. So we need to actually speed up the aid. If let's say you want to give us bread, let's say, or even food pack, that would be very much with welcome heart, with open heart. Today we need the food, but bear in mind, if let's say we who want to contribute a food bank, there is no urgency of food bank if today's situation. The today's situation, the really in need help is volunteers, more hand, more group or more team to help them. So doing a smart way, I think we need to have an excavator, what you call that, JCB, excavator. Yes. So I proposed to my donor just now, is it okay if your company rent for us a JCB for 3 days? So I think by this evening we will have hopefully we got a good news, or else we need to rent maybe 1 day. I think 1 day it will cost us about 500. If 500 ringgit can help us to can save us time, that would be better.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Out of curiosity, why are you doing this?
Okay, I
It's
believe
just amazing. It's just amazing what you're doing, both you and Edey. And I'm always curious. Like, I mean, I have my fair share to as well, but this is quite a bit of onerous effort, and you have to actually get so many parties involved to ensure the viability and the success of all these projects. To ensure, I mean, sometimes you need to hack into people to get them to come and help you out too as well,
yes.
for any good reasons, right? So why, like this passion? Yeah.
My big why. This is my big why. My previous job is actually I was a banker, Dr. L.
Ah.
I was a banker. But I also doing part-time helping others. If let's say we have let's say we come across a family in poor thing. So previously we have no time. So we just transfer money and then that's it. You can buy your what you need. But until when? Until when I want to do that? I want to do by my own. So when I left my bank, when I left my previous employer, I realized I love this job more. Why? Because when my previous employer offered me to take care a branch here, I told my boss, my immediate boss in Cairo, boss, I don't want to work until 9 p.m. maybe that particular time. But now my husband is complaining, I'm watching you, not even 9 to 10, you are working until 2 a.m., 3 a.m. So like just now Dr. L said, is compassion, is what you love. When you do something that you really interest you, you really love to do it, so you will go all out. So you want to make it objectively and you want to see the end result. So that is my personal objective, because I want, if let's say I can help one people to upgrade their life, why not? Why not? So okay, what
I think
happened?
if I can add on to what Farah
Sure.
said, I think it is also because we are quite genuine in seeing a better society lah. So
Yes,
we genuinely want to see a better society, and we genuinely want to see people do better, and we
correct.
genuinely want to see people on their feet and not living in hardship and things like that. See, personally for me, I myself come from hardship. So when I managed to get myself out of it, it's one of my mission to make sure that I don't come across others who are vulnerable and stuck in hardship, and we
Yes,
genuinely want to see them
exactly.
come out of it. Of course,
Kudos to
Farah is
both of
more on the
you.
ground, and she literally will carry you out of hardship. But I think we all share that same passion of seeing people do better.
Okay.
Yes.
Um, Before I ask, is there any awareness about how to prevent this flood from happening? Is there any study done and going out to the people out there in common parlance, right? Explaining to them about this flood coming in? Like what is happening right now is the perpetuity of this floods happening. The moment you see rain, you know already they're going to be stuck with all this flood. Is there any awareness program or some kind of a study going out there to get into the populace?
Okay, our social media is very important here because I realized last year we have the same situation whereby the social media monitored by Jabatan Meteorologi Malaysia, our wealth forecast, our weather forecast.
Weather forecast department.
Yes, our weather forecast department, they help us actually to alert the community when is actually heavy rain or any abnormal thing happen. So that is very one good thing. So when we have that thing, so I think the community will prepare themselves where they need to go. So they will have time to pack their things, the really important things. So maybe what we can improve next is actually how they want to move on with the current situation, and at the same time we have COVID-19 as well. So right now we actually have double burden here actually. It's one flood, this is legacy issue, and one more thing is COVID issue. So actually with our social media, and as Edey said just now, digitalizing is very important. Yes, data is important. When we have something of resource, a very good resources, one resources of the community or like NGO, or I think even other people as well, we can refer to, and we know what we can do and we can plan better.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Question for Edey. The outbreak of COVID pandemic is a global concern throughout the year, and it seems it's been continuing. So does it become more challenging to gather your heroes out there, to go out there to help out people? And what are the challenges that you have faced in grouping them up?
I think, of course, the COVID-19 pandemic is unprecedented. So none of us have actually experienced something like this. And the challenges that come with it are obviously new to almost everyone. But you have to be agile, and you have to know how to move quickly, and and make decisions quickly on the go, and make proper decisions as well. Agility is very important. So any organization, let it be a corporate organization, nor an NGO, nor any individual out there, if they can't adapt and be agile at the same time, there's going to be a lot of issues. You see, the NGOs and volunteers will not be able to close the gap of disparity among the poor and stateless or homeless or even refugees if the people who are vulnerable themselves are not open to getting help. So they must also understand that getting help is not going to be in one format whereby there is no one shoe fits all sort of answer for this. There's going to be different approaches by different organizations, but the objectives are all the same. End of the day, everyone wants to provide some sort of relief and some sort of help or some sort of aid. The methods of getting there might be challenging, but by working together, you can get it done. Maybe a point that I want to bring out is sometimes a lack of education is also a challenge because, for an example, when you got countries in a war-torn environment, I mean, COVID-19 pandemic is a war environment on its own. But usually, when humanitarian aid goes in, it is accompanied by army personnel or military personnel, or even the police will be escorting the NGOs to go in to deliver the aid. But over here, perhaps there's a lack of understanding in terms of doing that. So the NGOs seem to go first, and then later on we manage to chat with the enforcer, and then the enforcement will come in to assist as well. So if there is better coordination and better understanding of how to go about things, then I'm sure that better results can be achieved as well. So of course there are challenges, but with agility it can be done.
Okay, you want to add something on to that, Ms. Farrah?
Yes, I totally agree with Edey because we actually work closely since day one of our pandemic issue. Day one, sometimes I call Edey in the middle of the night. Hello, why not we do this? Okay, because it's not about one man show. It's about the end game is to help the community. So how can we do better? So if we have a better coordination, a better teamwork rather than you go silo, because if we go only one man show, what do I gain? I don't gain anything. My objective, I won't get my objective because we want actually to serve the community, to serve with passion and love. That will be a bonus. But to serve them, to actually help them to make them move on with their normal life, that will be better. Because the current situation right now with people lost their employment, they are jobless now. Even the M40 now also under this category of B40, how we want to help them. So that is now actually very challenging. But at the same time, our statistic is skyrocketing. So we need to balance this now with the economy and the health. So that's why we need a very good coordination here.
Okay, how do we actually fill in the gaps? The coordination part of it, getting the data and managing and monitoring, and then the perpetuality as well as the sustainability. A feasible answer for this. Probably Edey can answer that.
On our end, what we are doing now is our IMSHA winners, we have about 120 NGOs and NGIs who are part of the IMSHA Winners Network. So we created a Winners Network by simply putting together a WhatsApp group and getting everyone to communicate with each other. A simple tool like that has helped to share resources and reduce duplication and reduce redundancy as well. Sometimes it's the simple things that matter, lah. And by doing things like that, we get to coordinate our efforts and work better. See, when we talk about urban poor, the problem with the statistics is, there is a new census that was done. We will wait for the new numbers to come out, but on official count, Johor has zero poverty, and but of course, when you go down to the ground, situation is different, and you will see that poverty is not only in outskirt areas but also in the urban areas as well. So the best way that we can move forward is, of course, we must have data in terms of making decisions. If we know, data is pointless if we don't know how to convert it to something that we can use, right? So if we know that there are areas which is um, um, having a bigger influx of urban poor, then we know that we can coordinate efforts to target that particular area first before we go to the other place. See, like what Farrah mentioned, we are not in it for a photo op. So we are not here to snap photos and and pat ourselves on the back. We are here to actually solve the problem. So when you want to actually solve the problem, you need equipments, you need tools, you need resources, you need data, you need a whole bunch of intelligent things. Probably you need to have a government on your own in order to get things done. But if you don't, then you need a network of people who can be your eyes, your ears, and your hands and feet on the ground, who can work together with each other towards a common goal. So that's what we need to do. We need to coordinate each other's efforts better.
Okay, amazing. There's a couple of questions from the students themselves. Okay, one is, what are the key elements, or you could say the motivations that actually keeping you and your team on this path to helping the community for a long time? And the other question is, how can they help you?
My motivation
Yeah.
is to have a better community.
So,
very simple. If you do good, good things will come to you. So that is my motivation. But if let's say we have more people in doing good, that will be better.
That's very true.
So if you ask me, like today, actually, if let's say you are free, I got some friends that PM private message me, hey, by looking at your video just now, I want to help now. Okay, you can come here now. So if it is a matter of whether you want to do it,
Or not.
when,
Yeah.
and where. So if let's say we have students is very energetic. So we really welcome all these youngsters, because we need a genuine, a really disciplined youngster, our G20, the generation, the new generation. Because if I'm not going to be young all the time, I'm not going to be a very strong woman or lady iron all the time. So because I need to teach, I need to educate my successor. So we need this youngster actually to replicate, to do maybe at their own place, or at their own taman, or at their own area. So that will be better.
Yes, Edey.
If I can add, my motivation is actually I'm a strong believer in reducing inequality. I mean, when I see there is inequality, it irritates me, and I would like to do whatever is it that I can to help to reduce
Balance.
inequality. Right? We need the balance. If there is no balance, then the force is unstable. So we need to work towards getting some stability, and we must reduce inequality. Now, in terms of engaging volunteers, we have this plan that we are putting in motion now. It's called the MOVE plan. So MOVE is mobile volunteer engagement. So we are actually looking at developing an application whereby volunteers can register themselves, and they can choose inside there whether they want to contribute cash, or they want to contribute their time. Because volunteers at times they only want to give money. Meanwhile, the other side of volunteers either want to give things, or the third one wants to contribute their time as well. So we will enable them to indicate whether they want to give cash, kind, or time. And from then onwards, we will have a system whereby if there is something going on and there is a particular NGO activating a program or a disaster relief effort or something like that, you will get a notification on your phone, and you can jump up and jump down and get involved and get yourself into it. So it is still being developed. It's still premature for me to talk too much about it, but it is being done. And once it's done, we will also provide volunteer training together with it. So I think some of the issues that we face with volunteers is volunteers are overzealous. They want to do good, but sometimes they don't know how. So if we take, for example, feeding the homeless, many people think that feeding the homeless is perhaps one of the easiest way of doing good. Homeless are in Johor Bahru town or wherever that they are, and you just need to get a bunch of meals packed and you can hand off to them. But there's actually a way of doing it. There's a format of doing it, and of course with the COVID there's new SOPs that is involved. So volunteer training is also very important. It is not just about you jumping into the bandwagon and getting involved, but you must also know how to do it tactfully, how to do it properly, and make sure that you're not hurting someone while you're doing it. I mean, one of the common sensitivities that I hear about is taking photos of people who are receiving aid and things like that. In experience, NGOs will tell you you're not supposed to do it, and you're supposed to blur out their faces, and you want to keep their dignity intact and things like that. But for those who are not exposed to the best practice of it, they will just jump into it and get it done in that way. So one part will be to engage more volunteers, and the other part will be to also guide them on doing good, but doing it better. Not just doing good, but doing it better as well. So these are among the things that we're looking at as well.
I agree with you about what has been happening downtown Johor Bahru, where I see lots of trucks coming in and supplying food to all these people who are in need of it, which is quite sad though. And I hear that they take their shower at Merlin Tower and they just sleep at the platforms, whatever. But the downside of it is like they take pictures and put it on Facebook, which is not in control. But the deal is there, yeah, they're doing something good, but you do not have to advertise it. Okay, moving on to another question, and kudos to both you guys for helping out. Okay, moving on to the next question is funding. One of our colleagues from our fraternity would like to know what are the challenges that you and your team face trying to raise funds, and how did you manage to secure substantial funding for all these projects? Yes.
I think that question belongs to me, right?
Either one of you, yeah, sure.
I can share some as well, but I let Farrah do the talking first.
Okay, okay. Okay, that is the challenging part. Even though I'm a banker, from you have people's money, but right now I'm having this challenging whereby how I want to get that money to use for the charity. Okay, on this funding, or we call it crowdfunding, because we need to manage our own fund, because we need to have a better purchasing, or better how we want to manage it, whether we want to do it for a saving cost. If let's say we want to buy let's say a diapers, whether we want to buy it at a giant grocer, let's say Tesco, or we want to buy at a nearby shop at our house. We save time here, but we will save cost here. So you need to choose which one. So that's why the funding challenge now is, if let's say let's say in a month I need to have, let's say, 10 diapers for 10 babies. If I have time, I will have to make ways how I want to collect my crowdfunding. But if I have less time, I will need to engage, or I will need to approach a company. If let's say diapers, I need to approach Pampers, for example, a big companies, diapers for Pampers. I need to just approach them. I will write in a letter saying, if let's say, can they support Ihsan Johor, our NGO, to contribute on monthly basis 10 babies of, let's say, 10 diapers. That will be very good enough. So you need to actually be smart. So whether it's a long term initiative or short term initiative, I need to choose. If long term, then I need to have sustainable funding here, because I cannot expect the same donor will, let's say, will donate, let's say, 50 ringgit all the time. They may have some difficult hardship time also. So we need to be smart here. You need to have more initiative out there.
Very good. How about you, Edey?
I completely agree with Farah, and I think the key thing that she mentioned there is the responsible spending that she's doing as well. She knows what she needs to buy, but she's going to make articulated decisions on where to buy it and how to get a cheaper price in doing it and things like that. So, and for all the people out there who want to actually channel funds for all these, I think the thing that you want to keep in mind is the best thing to do is to give continuous funding if you have that capacity.
Yes.
If you can put aside something every month regularly, it's like adopting a child in a home. The child could be in the home, but you could fund the child on a monthly basis, and things like that. So don't look at one-off approaches, and look at long-term funding platforms and opportunities as well. Because when you work with NGOs like Ihsan Johor, who's also a IMSHA winner, the IMSHA winners are actually vetted. So there is no black no black market Chuchi Wang, and all these things have been vetted. So you are comfortable, and you have the confidence of giving them your money, knowing that they are going to responsibly spend it. You're not going to see Farah all of a sudden appear in a BMW and not
Why? I can have one BMW, is it?
so not what we do. We are very responsible in terms of spending the money that comes, and I think the plea that I will put out there is, if you don't know which charitable cause to fund it or to send your funds to, get in touch with us, and we can help you to choose which NGO will suit best to what you want to fund, and we can channel you towards them. So yeah, and apart from that, next year, the Social Hero Foundation will actually be applying for our tax exemption status. So if we get it, God willing. If we get it, then will be better. So if any funds that come in, there is an additional perk to it, whereby you will also get to relieve yourself of some personal tax as well. Right, so these are among the things that we're looking at, lah. So yeah, so if you want to give money, give it on a long term basis. You know, don't be a stingy person and give off one time. Look at long term.
Adopt a family, probably adopt a family or an organization.
Yes.
Hey, another one. It's interesting question. Okay, you're dealing with some NGOs. They're asking, do organization challenges generally come on to you as well? Means like NGOs, they have their own politics, right? Does it affect you, or you just find it something trivial and you just sort of ignore that? How do you deal with this?
Maybe I go first on this.
Okay.
Since I do work with a lot of organizations, and all organizations have their own objectives, and but what we understand is almost everyone shares the same purpose. So the objective of the organization could be to provide aid and things like that, but the purpose usually is shared by all organizations. You know, so for an example, if you ask me, we have homeless people living in Johor Bahru town, and the objective of volunteers and NGOs is to provide aid for these homeless people. But the purpose is that eventually there should be no homeless. There should be no more homeless that that the NGOs need to serve, and they can look at other problems. So we might have some differences in terms of objectives, but the purpose very clear. Everyone knows that this is what we are working towards. So when you have a solid purpose in place, it doesn't matter if you have a little bit of a change of or difference in opinions and views. We are all working towards the same purpose, so it's fine.
Okay, so the result here is like zero homeless. Once we come to that level, then we have some challenges. Am I right?
I mean, that would be ideal, to have zero homeless and zero urban poor and zero crime and all the zeros that we would want. In an ideal world, it will be good, but in a manageable world, we would want manageable numbers. So we want to limit entries of homeless. We want to reduce numbers of urban poor and things like that. So a reduction is also a good way forward as well.
Okay, amazing. Farrah, question for you. This might be actually directed towards Dr. Siva, but they would want to know about their psychological mindset when they go through this number one, pandemic plus flood. How do you deal with it?
Okay, I have a family which is a single mother. This single mother have very young child, so she don't know how she wants to continue if, let's say, she is not working. So I tell her, I remember she WhatsApp me at about 11 a.m. She told me, Farah, susu habis. The baby run off of milk powder. So I asked her, can you wait for tomorrow? So I asked her, can you wait for tomorrow? Yes. So early morning, the next morning, I call her, can I meet you? Because you will feel one kind, you will have this one instinct that I need to see you to give you better. So I asked her, how can I help you so that you won't have this problem? So she actually worried how to feed her baby actually. So I asked her, what happened to your husband? My husband ran away. So will your husband come back to you again? Will you communicate back? No. Okay. So this is the part. The mother actually having this inferior. I think more to not about her worries, but to the children itself. She worried if, let's say, she do something or she hurt the baby's act. So this is very alarming. So with jobless, with unemployment, so we hope that when NGO like us have the opportunity to identify them. So we will have this special treatment for them, because one highlighted by Edey just now is education. Because when I dig further, when I ask her whether what is your education level, so the education level is not even standard 6. So that is where education level is important here.
Okay. All right.
Dr. L, maybe
That's
I can add in a little bit.
Yeah.
During the initial stage of the MCO and RMCO, there was recorded calls of 1,552 calls by the befrienders in Johor Bahru. And we must also note that, during this COVID period, 266 suicide cases were recorded, with 47 cases of it coming from Johor.
Mhm.
So this mental health issue is it's a serious issue, and perhaps I would just like to highlight that, if you are facing any form of stress and you need someone to talk to, call the befrienders. They are always there to hear you out and listen to you, or talk to any NGO, and they will understand what to do with you, and give you your aid that you will need. So we cannot brush this issue aside. You've got, in Johor alone, you have 47 suicide cases, which is a big issue only during COVID. So uh, we must handle this issue with a lot of expertise, and talk to befrienders first. Listen to them, and they will listen to you, and they will give you some sound advice and things like that. And don't make any harsh decisions. And I mean, everyone is under hardship. You are not alone. There is support out there. There NGOs are there. Volunteers are there. Your neighbors are there, and your family is there. No one is alone in all this. We are all in it together. So reach out to someone if you need to talk to.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I've referred some people to befrienders as well. They are pretty accommodating, and they are very, their guidance is pretty good. We're going to be closing up soon, but one question for Farrah. 16 units in 3 days. How did you do that? You're talking about the house, the Ihsan Johor's house.
Okay, I call it Lego house. It's a magic house.
Okay.
So we won't achieve that 3 days without my volunteers. My volunteers, even though they not even have the experience to use a hammer or even a drill, so they managed to do that in 3 days. Why is 3 days? We will take 2 days on weekend, 1 extra days on Sunday. So in Johor, we have weekends on Friday and Saturday. So we have Sunday. So during these 3 days, on the very first day, they will build. We will have this structure and already roof. The second day is only painting.
Okay.
Painting or plumbing or wiring. That one very simple. On Sunday noon, we will have complete. So by evening, actually the beneficiaries can stay in already.
Wow.
Yes. So we are looking forward, if let's say the state or the government would have considered this for 3 days house, that will be better. I think the poverty, because the issue right now in Johor, I think, is getting own occupied house. Because if we during our last 2 weeks feeding homeless, 80% actually they have their own home. Only 10 to 20% are really homeless. So when we ask them, do you have a home? Yeah, we drop by to take this free food.
Okay, thank you so much. We are running out of time here. And okay, thank you again for answering all the questions and for the great presentation. It was a pleasure to have both of you with us.
Thank you, Doctor.
Okay, and I would like to take this opportunity to thank Mr. G for guiding us, and also our team for making this webinar a very successful one. So thank you so much. And if you need the recording of this, it will still be available on our Facebook page. Thank you so much to both of you. And
Thank you. Take care.
We'll meet again tomorrow,
Stay safe.
Doctor. Thank you. Stay safe. Thank you.
Yes.
All right. Thank you. Great.